can I do any more freaking videos? I don't know. I'm so tired. Alright.
I want to do rideshare, but I want to tell you right now, it's really not for everyone. My name's Dan. I drive in one of the wildest cities in the U.S. of Houston, Texas, over the fourth largest city, and it definitely keeps me very busy.
Alright, welcome back. This video I'm going to talk about a 7-day run that I did uh, over the 2026 Valentine's Day week. Kind of give you an idea of how many days that was. I didn't run a full 8-hour day every day, and we'll get into that here in a second. All right, so let's talk about this. So, Monday, February 9th through the 15th. Okay, so I started out pretty good on Monday, Tuesday. I actually ran, I want to say, yeah, here we go, 7 hours, 16 minutes on both days. Did 13 trips both days, a whopping 13 points. But the pricing was about the same. 107 for net pay, 117 for pay. So, yeah, around $30 on the 9th was tips, and the same thing on, well, it's about $20 in tips. So I did pretty good. Kept on going, kept that steam up. So now I'm doing 5 hours. This is pretty good. So again, I do think it's worth it. So I did 5 hours, 39 minutes. And I made $143.66. Pretty damn good. I'm liking this so far. My goal was to try to aim for around $150 during the week. If I can get to 2, I'll definitely do it. So why is there a huge time difference between them? So let's add on a hour each day. So I'm going to go back to Tuesday, and I'm at 7:16. Add on an hour because I'm taking like lunch, and I'm taking some breaks, and I'm doing a little bit of splitting the difference where I'm trying to drive to a better area too. So about an hour or so of difference. Same thing back over to Wednesday where it's 5 hours, 39 minutes, 10 trips, right? If I continued going, I should have, I don't know what the time was on that. I want to say I started around like 10 o'clock, maybe 9. And I want to say I ran up to like 6 or 7 o'clock. No, because it's 5 hours. So never mind all that. I don't know what the time, I want to say that was like 12 o'clock maybe to about, 5, almost 6. So again, adding on an hour on there, that's the difference. And I was pretty content. I was probably in the area where I wanted to end it anyways and head on to the house. So again, the same thing happened on Wednesday, happened on Thursday, and I made pretty damn good money. 5 hours in there, 9 trips, made 13 whopping points. Again, I don't really care about the point system that's on here. What I care about is the overall pay that I'm getting. And I think that's what a lot of people are going to be caring about. The points do help. The constantly accepting route runs help. Again, this is all Uber. This is all Uber. This is not Uber Eats. This is just regular runs with people. And the reason why I'll talk about Uber Eats here in a minute. So that's pretty good. 9 trips, 13 points, just under 5 hours. Add an hour on top of that for food, using a restroom, just kind of general stopping, trying to figure out some stuff, and then driving to a little bit better of a market. All right, so Friday was 149 and 8 hours, 15 runs, 47 points. So I'm actually running further with those runs. I'm running across town on Friday. That's what I'd noticed. I ran pretty hard. My goal was actually to do 200 on that day. It just did not happen. I was getting to that point where I was just kind of tired. I didn't really want to mess with it anymore. Trying to keep to an 8 hour day. I'm not trying to like kill myself. I'm not trying to overdo it or anything like that. I'm just trying to keep to an 8 hour day, all right? Or around 40 hours a week. And I think I made 42 hours, 42 and a half hours, if I'm not mistaken. All right, so Saturday. So this is a big, big drop off here, right? So, wow, whole $64. So I started early and I was actually doing pretty good. And then I got to a spot where I was getting those lower $3, $5 runs, which I didn't really care for. Eventually, what happened is there's two big problems coming in. There was a storm, a really bad storm that was rolling through. And my goal was to start early in the morning, around like 7 o'clock, which I think I did, and then run up to about 3. Well, it started raining around like 1:30 on me. Wasn't that bad, but I did kind of get freaked out. I really just don't want to drive in the rain and snow. Now, it snows a lot here in Houston, but ice conditions. I just don't want to do that anymore. I've done that before. I just don't want to do it. So, almost 4 hours into my day, I was like, "Wow, I guess I need to cut it down." And I punched myself in the face for doing that because, well, the storm didn't actually hit until like 6 o'clock that night, right when we were eating. That was my other thing too. Is at 4 o'clock, 4:30, I had plans to go eat, and it was just at my brother's house. We were cooking steaks, doing lobster for Valentine's Day, right? Kind of sucks because in my small town area, the price surge went up to like $5 or $6, which is pretty high. Never have I seen that high. And again, that's probably like 15, $20 as far as the riders are concerned that they're paying extra on. So I kind of kicked myself in the butt doing that because I could have made like $300 that night. Easy $300. I want to take that time off and enjoy myself and my family because in the past, I didn't really have that. So if I would have ran, let's say, 12 hours, then I would have not been able to enjoy my family time, right? And that's the whole point of me doing Uber and going about that route, plus doing some other side jobs. It's 108. There is no tips on that, I don't think. If I'm not mistaken, oh, maybe one. But only just under 6 hours, 12 runs. I was really being picky. I was at this time I was just burnt out. Yeah. So for the 7 days that I ran, I made that what did I say 874, 875. Let's go. Let's go ahead and put the screen caption on. Where are we at? Weekly pay. 874.62. So I'm gonna put, I don't know, 10% aside for taxes off of that. Where's that? So at 874.62 times that. Okay, so I'm gonna go up to $90. All right, so I need to put aside $90 just right there alone for taxes. My bad. For taxes alone. So obviously this is a 1099 pre-tax type stuff. So $90 is gone from that 874.62. I know it's a little bit different than what I'm showing. I'm 0.58 plus $90. Okay, so there we go. $332.58. I use a credit card every week. And I pay it off every week, okay? Or generally on the Mondays. But what I do is I put everything on the credit card, and I'm trying to reduce other things like my Adobe and whatnot that's on there, and pull that to something else. I do that every week so that I can keep track of stuff, and I'm trying to get a little bit better management of it so that I just have that. There is like a Uber Pro card. I don't really want to mess with that. I don't really 100% understand that either. I don't. I want to control as much as I can, and I'm building my own points and all that. Wells Fargo's not the greatest when it comes to returns, but at least it's there. So in this case, $332.58, right, is what my expenses are plus taxes. $542.04 is what I made. So if I can do that, I don't know, let's say every week for a month, we're making $21.68.16 a month, just on roughly around 40 hours, right? Ew. $14 an hour. Woohoo! All right, like I said, it's not a whole lot post tax. So after expenses, after what is it? Taxes, you're only, you're barely making, you're right around like $14 an hour, right? That's not a whole lot of money. Post all that, because remember, when you go to a job interview and you say you're going to work for $21 an hour, you're not working for $21 an hour, because your taxes are coming out of that. Your 401ks, if they do a proper one, is coming out of that. Your health is coming out of that. So you're not working for $21 an hour. You're working for post-hour pay. That's on every job. Doesn't matter where you're at, unless they're paying for a health care, unless they're paying for your 401k, and that's all part of your package deal, and they say $21 an hour is what you're going to be making, then yeah, you're going to be making 21 times 40. You're going to be making $840 a week, and that's basically what I'm doing. I made right around $22 an hour at 870. What is it, 874 or whatever, 875, divide by 40, 21.85 an hour, right? But in reality, I'm really only making down to post taxes, post expenses, $14 an hour, which is not a whole lot. So you have to take it for a grain of salt. That's a 40-hour time period. It's like 42 and a half is whatever I did. And there's a whole point. I wanted to show that if you're making $1,000 roughly a week, you're going to be right around that price point. You're going to be $22 an hour. Post that, you're going to be making like 15, 16 bucks an hour. That's just how the math breaks down. So the bad news. Let's see how much Uber will take from me at the end of the pay period week. Doesn't matter if it's one day or all 7 days, Uber is going to get their cut. And this is where a lot of drivers get mad, including myself. So, as you can see, the very top one is 799.77. That percentage is what I've earned before taxes, and then we get back up to that 785 or so that I've been playing with. This lost item return is a driver lost a pair of keys in my vehicle, so I had to take it back. They're supposed to pay me that, so I'm not really too sure why that's a negative. I think that's a negative on their side. But it said it would take 3 to 4 days, and I believe that's went on to a different check. Check that went on for the following week. Government taxes, $56.83. I get all that. I understand paying that, and actually, I think the 3% is pretty low. I think the 3% is pretty fair when it comes to that. Other states are going to vary. Insurance, estimated commercial auto insurance and operational cost. Okay, so there's two on here, and I'm not really too sure why, but they need to have a self-insured system. I don't think it needs to be 27%, but that is what they're doing on this system right now. And then customer promotion. This, I don't really get this either, because customer promotion should be for going to the drivers, right? That's what they should be getting. And then Uber fee, $372.14 or around 20%. And I get that they're a company and they need to make their own money, but
either get rid of the customer promotion and give that to the drivers, and also reduce the insurance cost and work with insurance providers that are out there in the insurance world that work with rideshare companies. So at the end of it, you can see 1847.84, and what that is the overall charges that a rider had all that week, and I only got around. Looked at it earlier, based on the 79977. That's the actual amount of money that I made, or that they're going to give me, and that actually only comes out to around. I go back over here. That's what that is, around 43% of what I make. And I tell a lot of people, drivers and riders that I run into, Uber takes approximately 60%, and the drivers take about 40%. So that's a weekly rundown. They do it on a daily basis, and a daily rundown around 20%. I'm not going to show the math on that, but that's right around where they're at if per ride. So that's how we get to that number right in there. So Uber plays around. They got to make their money too, but we also have to eat as well. So disadvantage there. And I wish they would make it a lot fairer. 43 is still pretty high percentage, but there could be some stuff like the insurance changing that. Maybe if we can find our own insurance plans that are strong for rideshare riders, I can understand that. And this customer promotion, I've seen a lot of people complain, and that should be going straight to the drivers and not to the company itself. So, all right, that's my take. That's 7 days. Around 42 and a half hours is what I did that entire time. So, if you feel like it's something for you, do it. If not, then be a rider. Take care.